So the world's #2 economy is showing signs of sales growth, a huge concern for U.S. businesses. What exactly does the threat implicate for businesses growing forward?
Well, businesses have gotten quite accustomed to a very fast-growing China market, those that serve the China market, and they're now going to have to get used to slower growth. And that mirrors a concern that you've seen in the markets over the past week or so, really coming to a realization that growth is slowing in China.
And Aaron, they also, besides that obvious fact, as you say, we've seen data from China itself that shows still very strong growth, certainly compared to the developed world and the Western world, but slower by China's standards. So that's kind of an obvious concern. These business executives, these American business executives doing business in China also expressed some concern. I think they were asked about cybersecurity. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so they said that, cybersecurity is worse in China than in most other countries, which is not really a surprise, actually, given the extent of internet censorship and internet spying that goes on here. I thought what was more striking was that 74% of respondents said that actually slow internet speeds are a problem for their business. That's a different issue from internet censorship or cybersecurity. That's just saying that the telco utilities here are not really doing their job. And from personal experience, it's definitely true. Even these videos that we shoot for the Wall Street Journal, it's kind of hard to watch them in China because the internet is slow.
Oh, that's fascinating. I hadn't realized that. How about things like regulatory issues and legal issues, legal protections for companies? Were the folks surveyed asked about those issues as well?
I think their #2 concern was a inconsistent regulatory environment, which really rings true. It's not really the rule of law here, and it's unpredictable how regulations are going to affect you, how laws are going to be enforced.
And I know in the survey that the companies were talking about an overall global slowdown, a major risk to their Chinese operations. We know that China has also been dealing with slower demand for its exports, especially out of Europe as they deal with their crisis. So what are the implications of that going forward and how these companies are concerned about that?
Well, it's going two ways. So some of their membership are businesses that are based here and exporting to the rest of the world. They have manufacturing here that they sell to the US or Europe, and they've obviously been affected by the slowdown in the US and Europe. But some of their membership are people who are here because they're trying to sell to Chinese consumers. And what you're seeing now is really kind of a slowdown on both ends. So that's a bit worrisome. Over the last few years, rapid Chinese growth has kind of bailed out the world economy, and now maybe less so.
And Neil and also Aaron, I mean, this could be one of those headwinds or challenges that are a threat to the U.S. recovery. We keep talking about how the first couple months of this year we've seen improvement in jobs, in the economic outlook and consumer spending. But then again, we look back at last year and how we got off to a great start, but then we did have the tsunami and these unexpected events. We now have higher oil prices, seeing a slowdown in China. Is this one of those challenges that you think they're talking about that if it continues could be possibly a setback to our own economic recovery?
Yeah, it's a crucial question. I mean, the United States has such a large domestic base, certainly a large consumer domestic base, and it is such a complex economy that to some large degree the U.S. can kind of take care of itself and grow even if there are problems elsewhere. At the same time, every day that goes by, the global economy becomes more interconnected. So certainly a recession in Europe, now slower growth in China, and China's become so important to everyone and everyone's growth ideas. You look at 1.3 billion people, all the needs they have as the economy grows, as more people move into the middle class. So that's really a great question. How much can the United States grow? Certainly can grow to some extent without great help from the rest of the world. But obviously it'll slow things down if China decelerates faster. We do have to remember, though, we're still talking about growth rates in China that are rapid by any Western standards.
Okay. All right, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us this morning from Beijing. We appreciate it.